So we'll go Tommy, and then we'll get Jay and Mr. Williams in just for a new perspective. What's up, Tom?
What's going on? That was always one of my reasons for talking about the idea of simps anyway. Not even that they were bad, but they were just irritating. They would be dudes. The guy made a point, and it's a perfect point. I always ask, why is it that these guys who claim they love black women or women so much, why is it that they're not with one? Like it seemed like it would be like a guy talking about how much he loved working and his ass don't have a job. We listen to these men who claim they simps, and it's more women. It's more, I've noticed like the guys on YouTube that call themselves simps. It's more women that dislike them in their real life that call them out and the stuff that they've done than me, who supposedly doesn't like women. It's strange, and I find it odd. But when you listen to someone saying, well, it's innate in men, it actually isn't. Just like lions would kill the offspring of children that weren't his, if you look at what happens with men today, we have to deal with all these men. You'll say, well, damn, can't believe this guy killed these kids. Can't believe this guy did whatever. Well, it's actually innate in him. You have to tell them not to do this. Back in the days when you would stone a woman, no man stopped her from getting stoned. They expected her to because her behavior was what it was. This idea of protecting women is a new thing. It started with chivalry. Before that, there was no need to protect these women because these women were possessions of men. The laws were built around these women were possessions of men. This stuff that y'all are seeing and doing today, that's all new. Women were being sold off to men as property. You would raise your daughter to have value, and if she lost her value, there's a reason why honor killings still exist. This was a man who would off his daughter because she shamed the family. Y'all are making things up when y'all are claiming, oh, we've always took care of the weak. No, you haven't. We're humans, but we're animals. You know what we did with the weak? We ate them. We got rid of them. This is a thing that humans...
So, Tommy, question. So you more so agree with her sentiment?
What was hers? I'm sorry.
Her sentiment was simply that we've been taught to do these things, and it's not biological that we protect women and children.
Yeah, a lot of these things are they're learned behaviors, but what it comes up under is the title of civilization. Civilization had rules. It's what you said, when we start getting larger groups of people together, we need rules to work together as larger groups of people. That's where it came from. And then you had the situation in the civilization where we had to have warriors. Well, what would happen with warriors? Warriors would tend to die. And what would that warrior do when they died? They left women and children behind. So the social contract that we came up with was if you fight for the community, we will take care of what you leave behind. That's where that came from.
Okay. So if I use an example, just I'm trying to understand it, right? You remember the movie 300, right? And all the babies who are deformed or inept would be thrown off the cliff.
Yep.
Right, to your point, like if you couldn't do the thing, baby or not, they would throw them down the cliff until society said, hey, this isn't civil, we need to do something different.
And see, remember, the reason why even the 300, the reason why they wanted to fight was why? Because they knew a part of their fighting, their families and shit would be taken care of.
You know what?
For their behavior, they wouldn't get that.
You know what's you remember Aaron Hernandez, the football player for the Patriots? He said
himself money.
Yeah. Damn. So EBD, what do you?
I know it sounds harsh. I'm just a student of history, and the way that we interact. Not that it's good or bad, but it evolves, and it evolves based upon what you consider, do I want to be a part of this? Remember, a lot of things that we might think don't make sense, the Greek used to feel like in order to turn a boy into a man, one of the first things they would do was fuck him. That was normal. We brought it into what we have now, which is our whole, the Senate. The Senate still have these things called pages. Look them up. They're the young people that work up under them. Well, the Greeks, all they were the guys the little boys that they would fuck. They would groom them to become senators.
Yeah.
It's a thing. It sucks. It's disgusting, but it's a thing.
Okay. Damn. So who else was making the biology argument aside from EBD?
Me, because like it was me too as well.
Yep,
So all right. So y'all saying that everything is taught. So I saw a clip. The boy could have been no more than 2 or 3 years old. And he saw he saw his sister wrestling with another girl, and he ran onto the mat to defend his sister. Where did he learn that from?
His dad.
Oh no, that's
At 2 or 3 years old.
Yeah. So let me just give you an example. Just I got a little boy. So I say
I have little kids as well.
Yeah, you look like you got a lot of kids. So whenever I see them box braids, I'm like, he be fucking. If I like just what he hear it from me when he been a baby, since he been in his mom's stomach, do this, do that, fight for your shit, right? You just say these things. Every time I walk in the house, he start doing push-ups. He only won. You know what I'm saying? So just imagine what that dad is telling him, especially because they wrestling, and he was wrestling a boy. Remember, she was wrestling a boy at that. So if your daddy telling you to do a thing, now I think he had the mustard to do it though, right? You have to be that type of person, you know. But I think maybe he would have been taught to an extent because he also knew how to wrestle already too. You know what I mean? So that's what I saw in that clip.
I guess that to me that was just pure reaction.
Okay.
Go back as far as
it's not though. They keep saying that my mic is messed up. I don't know what it means. But it's not, because you have to understand what's happening in that house. Even if you're just 2 years old, in that house, you telling me he's not noticing what dad does? He's not noticing the feelings that he has towards his sister that you're telling him to have towards his sister? People always look at me, and I have a twin brother, and they keep saying, well, why aren't you guys close? Well, we weren't raised that way. But there are twin brothers who cannot, and I've seen them, they can't live without each other. Marcus and Markeith, forgot they play for they play in the NBA. Those boys cried when they got drafted because they had never been away from each other. Man, my brother don't give a shit about each other like that. I mean, we like each other, but not like that. And people always wonder, I didn't know you had a twin. Yeah, but we're not with each other like that. So it's a way of how people are raised. It's the same thing where I saw this woman in Jamaica. She was mad at her child. The child was 2 years old. She kicked the shit out of that child, kicked him. He stood up and walked back crying, wanting her to pick him up, even though she was abusive to him. If you know what you know when you were raised, how you were raised, that's all you know. To that boy, that's his sister, you're harming his sister. Why do you think children cry when someone hit their parent? They immediately cry because that's all they know. That's their parent. Do they cry when they see you hit somebody else's parent? No. Why not? Because there's no sense of loss. Human beings dread and fear the sense of loss. And if you're doing something to my sister, I play with my sister, I lay down with my sister, I eat with my sister, I do all these things with my sister, and you're causing me a sense of loss. And I'm going to fight that. Just like if you take my toy from me, that child who's never fought will do what? Act in a way it's never been taught. It will start doing this. It will cry. It will fight against loss. Human beings fight against loss. That's why we cry at old motherfuckers that's dying when we know they were supposed to die anyway.
I mean, getting back to I guess getting back to the main point, like as advanced as our society is in 2024, there's also primitive societies that live off the grid, no internet, um, no international trade, who are functioning right now. I mean, that's been in every modern society has its advanced and its quote unquote primitive, but those primitive societies aren't taught by the outside world on how to live. So if they don't live by the moniker of protecting women and children as men, how are they able to continue as a society?
Yeah. You can't move forward. Again, what happens is you have a rational conversation with someone. You say, if we don't protect these women, or as men, you start saying back in the cave days, if we could just beat a woman over the head and take her, well, what's to stop this man from beating the woman over the head that we want? And now it's just the society of who's the biggest. It got to a point where mankind almost became extinct because the bigger, stronger person was killing the most intelligent of them because they weren't strong. The nerds aren't like right now. Nerds can't stop bigger people from whooping their ass, can they? But if it wasn't for nerds, you wouldn't have an iPhone. That's where civilization comes in. Civilization says we must protect those of us, even those of us who design things that we know we can't design. So we're the brutes. We'll go out and fight to keep his sissy ass at home. That's what society becomes. It's the way that a computer works. It's the way that any machine works. Small parts and big parts work together for that whole thing. And that's where civilization came from. That's it. We must work together in order to be a part of the group, in order to get this thing done. You ever play tug of war? The team that wins is not only the stronger team, but the team that works together.
Yeah. 100%, man. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, and tell a friend. Hit that like button right now if you can. That helps the channel the most. I like this. So, Jay, where do you stand with this? Mr. Williams, where do you stand with this? What do you think?
I would say I more so agree with Brittany regarding the social construct of men and men taking that on. If you don't want to take that on, find a different option.
Okay. Are men the issue? The biggest issue for other men?
Regarding masculinity and defining that, yes.
So all these things, the terminology that we use, it's men weaponizing negative terminology get men more so than the women are.
Yes, because it's up to you guys to define masculinity for yourselves. You shouldn't be listening to women when it comes to masculinity.
Damn.
Go ahead, Brittany. Right.
I just wanted to point out also, everything a woman knows about masculinity comes from another man, whether it's her brother, father, cousins, or anybody else. Anything that you think makes her standard high comes from another man. Mm-hmm. So when a man fights her standard, it's because he's actually fighting another man, not necessarily her.
Brittany, you know, I said this thing one day. I would be the issue, right? Because I have daughters. I would be the issue in terms of them being difficult, because I'm gonna make sure they can defend themselves as best as possible, although they will know that they don't have the strength, right? They'll know how to change a tire, et cetera, et cetera. And then to your point, they're literally saying, well, my daddy told me that. My daddy said that, right? Essentially.
Or him, you are the one that says to her what she should be looking for. So when somebody says a woman's expectations are too high, well, where did she get it from? She got it from another man.
From a daddy.
He didn't make it up.
Okay. Tommy said no.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, we got it. We understand. I'm trying to understand. Go ahead.
There was a time in which that was true. I agree. That time is now, because most women aren't raised with their fathers, and black women, they're not raised with their fathers, and they're not raised around men that they respect. Where they're getting this idea of what men are, social media is telling them what a man is supposed to be, what he's supposed to have. They're now telling men they supposed to have 12 inches. They supposed to be 6 feet. They went from things that you would teach your daughter, Hamp, which was things that they could use straight up, to now is superficial things that other women are telling them that they lacked. So now this woman is saying what she lacked or thought was important. She's telling it to other women. That's why they're getting their thought of what men are supposed to do from other women. That's why they dating swag now. There's no man that tells his daughter or brother that tells his sister to look for swag.
Yeah, 100%.
No,
So,
we
well, just let me just understand the point, and then Callie, you could jump
Go ahead,
right in.
Callie. You got it.
Hold on, y'all. I understand that point. It resonates, right? Because if the fathers were there, we would have a point. But since they are not, the society is doing a lot of directing. I understand that point. Go ahead, Callie.
Callie, can I jump in? Tag me
we
in.
also got that from other men that we listen to on social media. Y'all the ones who started talking first. So this whole 6-figure stuff like that, who's the one that's making fun of other men for being broke? It's men. Men making fun of other men being broke. Yes, they do. We see it all the time.
Men for not
Or
being
whatever.
6 feet.
Yes.
Men make fun of men for not being 6 feet. When?
Yes.
Yes, they
I
do.
ain't never seen
Y'all
no
are the
woman-
ones
I
that
ain't never
dog
seen no
each
man
other.
say,
Brittany,
"Woman, you
let
gotta
them get it back and forth real quick. And you can jump in.
I've never seen that. And I'm a man. I want to hear from other men. Do we sit up there as men doing this? Saying that, girl, your man is only 5'11". Do we do this?
Oh my God.
Do we sell ourselves against
No.
When y'all are
Most
arguing, when y'all
of
are
us are not
arguing,
that tall to do that. Most of us are not that tall to do that.
When you're talking to another woman, what do you tell her? When you're telling
we
her,
don't tell
to
that
drop
woman
the
about
square,
other men.
I never mentioned height.
Well, slow down.
this whole
give
thing
this.
about the educated, this whole thing about the educated lames and all that, this whole thing about the educated lames and all that kind of stuff like that, that was men telling women that you shouldn't be messing with these Pookies and Ray Rays because they ain't got no bread. They've been to prison. This, that, and the third. Y'all laid the standards for what women are supposed to be doing. Oh, absolutely.
When you tell your daughters about
where did the
Pookies
term
and Ray Rays,
homosexual come from? Did a woman call a man a homosexual? Did another man make that up? Another dude make that up? I came up with that. Yeah,
I did.
There you go.
And I came up with
I'm
the
going on
term
mute.
saying a woman should not be in a relationship with a man that's just bringing dick. And why did we say it?
But that's logic,
we
though.
We watch women who weren't raised with fathers actually value that he dropping off dick.
So
That
what
his
would make
dick
you
game
think they're her
good.
father?
No father tells his daughter, sister, or mom to get with a man that's dick game good.
So what would make your statement different than what Callie just said if she said that then at that point
dick game
other
from
men? But
because
the
she
point
said
is,
they got that
you
dick
just said
game and
you
stuff
would
like that
tell.
from because she said they got that dick game and stupid shit like that from men, and they didn't. It got confused. That's why men like me even showed up, because we started hearing these women saying things that made zero sense.
So Tommy, the point is, everything about a woman, what she thinks and what she should think, comes from a man. Whether it's you, Kevin, Hamp, Aaron.
It wasn't. Ma'am, I'm telling you, it wasn't, because they would listen.
I didn't say was it, is. You're just doing it.
I'm saying
doing
it
right
wasn't.
now,
I'm
but you don't even
disagreeing
realize
with you.
it.
Who was the man telling the woman raised by a single mom that she should be with a man that sold dope? Who told her that? What man said this?
That's not my point, Tommy. My point, Tommy, is that whatever she gets comes from a man. So if I have a fucked up ideology and I change it, guess where it came from? It came from you. If I go that route.
Okay, that's an answer. Now, here's what I want to ask. The majority of men aren't 6 feet. So why would men, and I'm just asking, right? So I want to understand it. Why would men perpetuate that you want a man at 6 feet if only 10% of men are over 6 feet?
Yep. I apologize. I live in the Midwest. Everybody is over 6 feet. Every man I've dated, everybody I know is over 6 feet. I'm sorry, ladies, if you don't know 6 feet men, I don't know what to do about that. I'll go on mute.
Okay, 100%, right? So we understand that the overwhelming majority of men aren't that tall. So I don't see why men would perpetuate that for women to pursue. Also, the majority of men don't make over 100,000. So why would men perpetuate that as well? You see what I'm asking?
And she just did it
Yeah,
in real
it's the
time,
men
man.
who are 6 feet and the men who make that kind of money are punching down. I know we hear that a lot. Are punching down on the other
Okay.
ones. We hear what y'all be talking about. We hear what y'all say.
Okay, but you see how it's conflicting, right? When you just say it out loud. Although I understand your point. Go ahead, Tommy.
There was no listen. There was no men running around saying you shouldn't be with a man that makes under $100,000. If he made 100,000 and he had his woman, men don't do that to other men. We might do it for our daughter. If we make $1 million, we want our daughter, her, to be with a millionaire. We don't say every woman and every daughter should be with a millionaire. That doesn't make
Every
sense.
daughter
No
comes
man,
from a father.
no man does this. When I say I'll watch another kid be broke and walk from school, but mine won't. I won't sit there and say all kids should have what my daughter has. My daughter went to private school and is going to Duke right now. I ain't never in my motherfucking life said a man ain't worth a shit if he can't do what I do. No, that made me different. And that's what men like. Whatever makes them different, we really enjoy that. We don't want every man to have that. That makes no sense. And then y'all are listening to women tell y'all right now what men say, and yet the men are saying, we ain't never said that, but they still
I ain't
saying
never
we
said
said it.
that.
So, Tommy, your daughter that goes to private school, goes to Duke, what is she supposed to strive for? Please
Hold
answer.
on, I said my child, but not
So,
all
what is
women.
she supposed to do if you are a father and you make girls? I came from balls. Callie Bev came from balls. Jay came from balls. Every woman in here came from balls. That means everybody has a father. So if everybody has a father that sets a standard for their daughter, what is it that you're saying, Tommy?
I just said when
Everybody
I
said
started, I said
most
a lot
men
of
made a.
women today
Hold on, bro.
are not having that father there is the first thing I said. I said at a time in which that was the case, I agree with what you're saying. Just like I agree that used to be, men used to be able to just grab a bitch. If he wanted a fine bitch, he just go talk to her daddy. He didn't have to woo her. He wooed the father. Those days are over.
So if I
The
have
most
Today,
the
a
most the
black
most the
what
most
about
involved
uncles?
fathers aren't there teaching their daughters. Okay,
So
got
what
it.
about uncles? Your mama don't got brothers? What are
no,
you
no, no.
saying?
Hold
If
on.
I'm
I
saying
addressed that
okay,
too. I said a lot of the men in these families are weak. They're not the strong guy. I've seen more men in these families need these women to bail them out of jail, need these women to let them come live with them. All these things, and y'all have too. To where
Tommy,
if he's not, you can't talk shit to people when you don't run the house. You
Tommy,
can't. You are not.
Tommy,
Go ahead.
how many men are from families? Just FYI. I just want to know.
You mean
Because you said most
men?
of the men are from
When you
families,
say
or most
families,
of
I
the men
mean,
in families are weak. So how many men are from families? Just
though I'm saying everybody has a family.
that's my point.
How
But
was that your point?
you dismiss family by saying most of the men
Did
in the
not
family
dismiss.
are
When
weak.
did I dismiss family?
You just said most of the men in families are weak. So how many men are
I didn't
not from
dismiss a
families?
family. Oh my God. If I dismiss house because you had a small one, I still acknowledge it's a house.
So if I say, what
Jesus
about
Christ.
my
This
uncles?
big thing
And
to be
you
saying.
say family,
I
the
did
men
not
in the family
dismiss
are weak.
family.
How many men
I
come
didn't
from
dismiss
family?
family. I might have dismissed the
What
weak
is
man,
what
but I
is
didn't
let's
dismiss the family.
yeah,
What I
what is Brittany, let me ask you a question.
but
What are you trying to clarify with
the
him?
clarification is he dismissed father first. So if women don't have fathers, okay, mothers have brothers. What about uncles? He said most men in families are weak. Most men come from families. So what are you actually saying? Are men weak or just men in families are weak?
Okay.
Which one is it? I
Men
gotta
Go
know.
ahead,
I
Tommy.
raised
gotta
by women. Men raised by women, where the women are the stronger, they become weak. That's what I'm saying. You keep on trying to read
I didn't
deeper
try
into what
anything. I
somebody's
just asked a
saying.
clarifying
Brittany,
You could just repeat what
let
they
him,
said.
I just asked a clarifying question.
Okay, so
So
here's
say
what it is.
I'm trying to do. Say what I'm doing.
Brittany, let him respond uninterrupted.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Tommy.
I said these men, if what they see, and I started this whole thing off with that. If what you see is normal, it becomes normal. And if you are a man and you were raised in a situation to where the women are the breadwinners and the women are the one telling you shit, like when I grew up, children are to be seen and not heard. Why do you think black folks look shocked when they see little white boys call their mama a bitch? Because we weren't raised that way. So when we see it, even as children, we be like, that little boy gonna get his ass whooped. That's the first thing we think. Because we know not to talk back to parents. But they believe in challenging that. And especially if it's a boy, he gets to challenge his mom. Because he's gonna be a man. But we don't. So when you teach that boy that, because he was raised in a woman household where you don't challenge the woman. I've even watched it and y'all seen it. Y'all watch men argue with women, and that man will be in a relationship with that woman. An older black woman will be able to come and calm that woman he in a relationship with down before another man or him can, because she respects Big Mama. She's used to a woman telling her what to do. That boy gets used to it too. That boy gets used to being calmed down. So in essence, in my opinion, this part's the opinion of the fact. He becomes weaker minded. He becomes one that acquiesces to the women. So now the women, without that man guiding them of what men are, now they're just trying to figure it out on their own. So they get to say what it is. It's just like me who didn't have a father. I now have to figure out what masculinity is. So where did I learn it from? I saw it on television. I might have seen it from the nigga that was selling drugs on the corner. Wherever it was, I was trying to get myself from, my masculinity. I would then look for it, and then I would be told from some woman, well, that's not what it is. So as a confused man, I would then have that woman. Why do you think women are able to tell men, you sassy?
Come on, fam.
They're judging.
Let's get a
They're
response.
judging the man on how they see things, and so
That's
that man
not
is
the
afraid
original
of
point,
being
Tommy.
called.
So that
So
was
that man-
nice, but that wasn't the original point. So I like that you did that, but that ain't gonna fly. You flipped it, but that was beautiful, and I like how you did that. And I sat and waited out of respect for him. But the point is, that's not the original point I made, because you went to now saying that the men that are raised by women, but men that are raised by women is not uncles. That would have been the nephews. I asked about uncles. So now you're talking about men that are raised by
Uncle could have been raised by
The chats are
women.
piling up, by the way.
point. But it's all good.
He's your uncle
I'm
doesn't
gonna
mean
let
he
you do
wasn't
that.
raised by a woman. What are you saying?
It's
Yeah,
okay. You
This
told
makes
him
no
the
sense.
story,
She's
and
just
now
arguing
you.
to be arguing.
No, I'm not arguing to argue. I
How
let
is
you
it that an
talk. Why am
uncle
I
has
arguing
to
to
be
argue?
raised by a man?
Come on.
How is it that an uncle has to be raised by a man? Please explain this.
Tommy, I asked about uncles. You went to men raised by women. That's
I
not
asked
what
you,
I
how
said.
is it
The
that an
women-
uncle has to be raised by a man? That was a simple question.
Yeah, Brittany,
That's
those
not what
men,
I said. Him.
the uncles,
That's
the
point.
uncles that can have the influence are still being raised up by
No,
women.
that's what he's saying. That wasn't the original thought. He put that in
But
after
that's
I
what he.
was quiet,
Okay.
and he tried to make a
All
point
right.
out
So
of that.
what
That wasn't
happened
the
was,
original
but
thought.
this is what happens when we're conversing, right? When he had the floor, that's the point he just made. So the point he just made, what do you have to say about the point he
I don't have
just
nothing
made?
to say about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would say
Nothing
to
to
that
say.
point,
Wasn't
the
the
same
original.
way that he had to,
Okay.
the same way that he had to go and seek out what masculinity was from other men outside of his family, was is still being learned by another man. So I don't understand what the point of contention is.
And I'll say one thing real quick, huh, please. Women are the main ones saying what a real nigga is. A real nigga is this. A real man do this. A real man do that. But now they want to claim they learn everything from a man. Like, get out of here, y'all. They try to tell what men to do, what men to be. They try to tell what men to be. They want what they're trying to tell us what to be, what to do, how to act. And if we don't acquiesce to what they want, then they have attitudes. They get their little shit off, And let me say one more thing. Brittany got too much credit for that dumbass point for that point she made about the being innate or not being innate. That wouldn't even like she'll say a bunch of bullshit, make one decent point, and everybody want to stick to that one decent point she made. Like she been saying a bunch of bullshit the whole time, and everybody want to give her credit for the bullshit that she been saying. This is ridiculous. This is crazy.
Yeah,
So
my idea of
let's do it.
masculinity is based off of what I've seen from other men. Men
So
dictate
let's
that.
do
I'm
it.
sorry. The
Okay,
same
Let's
way they
do it.
dictated to y'all is dictated to us as well. So just because you don't match what our standard is that we learned from somebody else, that's not our problem. It was still another male with balls.
So let's
CJ,
do this
I gotta
right here.
hold on
Let's do
real
this
quick,
right here.
William, because he addressed women. So CJ, I got a question. You ready?
Go ahead. Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Okay. Are you required to deal with the unruly women you're talking about?
No.
Okay. So you can find a woman that is able to get on your program, right?
It's yes. I mean, yeah, but it's very difficult.
Okay.
Especially if you
Very
want to
difficult.
deal. Especially if
Fair.
you want to be with
Fair.
black.
Life is difficult. Life is
I mean,
difficult.
but
So
let me say
yeah,
one
it's
more
gonna
thing.
be fair.
One more thing. One
That's
more
fair.
thing. Especially
Okay.
want to be with black women. It's more difficult. I think it's more difficult
Especially
than
with the
than it
black
has to
women.
be.
Okay.
Say that again.
Fair,
I
fair,
didn't
fair.
hear. I didn't know what you said.
Fair. So if you're not required to deal with the unruly women that tell you how to act as a man, you don't have to listen to them, do you?
I don't listen to women.
It seems like you do because you brought up what we say, so you do listen, right?
I listen to try to understand, but most of the time, like we having a conversation
Why are
right
you
now.
listening to
We're
understand if
having
you don't care what we're
we're,
talking about?
okay. We're having a conversation right now, and
Yeah.
I'm trying to. I didn't always have this mindset where I thought women just say a bunch of bullshit. So I still try to give. I try to give individuals the benefit. I'm more of an individual person. I try to give each individual the benefit of the doubt, but I
Fair.
usually know that women are just gonna say a bunch of bullshit.
Okay. So again, if you're a man on your purpose, you know what you're doing is correct. You know what you're doing is to make you successful. You don't have to really listen to a woman tell you what being a man is like or how you're supposed to act as a man, right?
I don't listen to, especially when they say that when a person say what a real man is, I just know they're being disingenuous or saying a bunch of bullshit. Like I hate that argument. I hate when people say what a real man is because we never say what a real woman is. We never judge a woman for her actions or what a real woman is, but we always talk about what a real man is. So I don't even listen to it.
Okay.
Thank
Well,
you,
I always
Jalen.
just find it
Good
weird that
question.
men,
Okay.
if you want to talk
Well,
about real
hold on,
men,
one time, real quick. Let's get Mr. Williams in. He was trying to say something, but he relinquished the floor to Jay. Mr. Williams, what were you about to say?
Well, hey, everybody in the
What's
chat
going on?
and on the panel. Well, speaking Brittany, I'm an uncle and I'm raising my niece.
Okay.
But at the same time, even now with the topic of the show, just today, what I just went through was catching hell from females about the structure and everything that I'm posing for her.
That came from men. If I
No, it
can,
came from a woman.
so then that's you listening to a woman that's listening to a man.
I
That's
didn't
the
say
argument.
I heard it out, but what I'm saying is I'm still going to stick to what I know. Now,
That came
I
from where?
was raised by my mother and my father, and
Okay.
even with this talk, even earlier, if you pay attention since birth, we already understood a lot of things about protecting a woman from her mother anyway, because she fed us and she changed our diapers. She did all of that. And then as we get older, we see our mothers, if they cry, if they're upset, we give them that attention. And then that starts it off and it trickles down to community. That's where we learn how to protect women. It was never about being a simp or any of this shit that everybody's talking about. It's all about the fact that we were coming up in a community where you seen where you would give protection. You just knew to protect women.
You
You
did
knew to protect your siblings. It was something that was embedded since birth.
Well,
I
embedded.
mean,
Thank you for that word. Thank you. Embedded.
so
embedded would means that it was inserted somewhere, Mr.
Yeah.
Williams. It
yeah,
wasn't
because
innate.
yeah, but
But
especially
I agree. I agree with that. I
we
agree
agree
with
with
that.
But let me ask a better question. I understand Miss Williams' sentiment. Miss Williams, if you don't mind,
I do
No, I
too.
don't know.
are you relinquishing, Brittany, women for all culpability for the things that they say and perpetuate these standards that they learn? Are they not culpable for repeating them? B.
I thought you said Mr. Williams.
No, no. I was just acknowledging Mr. Williams' point, but
Okay,
based
go
on
ahead.
your
Please.
reply, I'm like,
Yeah,
are
I thought
you?
you were talking to him, so I wanted to go on mute and not pay
Oh yeah,
attention.
yeah, no doubt. Are you relinquishing women from all culpability of these standards or lack thereof?
No, what I'm saying is there were social constructs like Mr. Williams, like EBD, those things, the sister conversation you had him, that exist before the internet. Once you come on the internet, now bad behavior females, this female you don't know, all these things that you would think was innate. My brother did this, it don't care if it's me, the girl at church, all this stuff that would be regular smuggler to us.
Yeah.
Once you get on the internet, the men are saying, don't do that. That's my argument. So when I come on here and I say, well, you guys make men out to be simps based on the nature that would be regular smuggler in the real world. That's what I'm saying. I
Okay.
don't mind the fact that if somebody sees me and they say, oh my God, you was about to get hit by a car, and they push me out the way, I'm like, thank you, Jesus. Thank you, you guy. And you want something to drink or you want to go in here. Those are natural human interactions. But when you come to the internet, all of that stuff
Is demonized or
exactly
weaponized against men. Tommy,
weaponized.
let me ask you a
And
question.
men, wait,
Yeah.
Tommy, sorry. Him.
Yeah.
You just said a good word. On the internet, men weaponize men against each other once you get on the internet, because now the guy who would have did that, whether he knew me or not, now they're telling the men not to do that because he don't know me and he don't know if I'm a worthy female, or he don't know that I'm a girl that would reciprocate or
Okay. No, I understand.
him the honor.
I understand. That's why I was gonna ask a follow. That's why, yeah, Brittany, that's why I was gonna ask a follow-up question.
You saying?
So I wanted to ask them this. Yes, sir.
Because I'm, you know, the one, because you know, like they say, we old heads or what have you.
Okay.
Back in the day, simp meant that you was pretty much a loser. It had nothing to do with being kind to women or anything. When you call somebody a simp, they were a loser. They were a chump. They were a punk. They were a simpleton.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden on the internet, a simp is if you're treating your wife or a woman good or you're pandering and all of this shit. That was never the case when I was younger.
It's new age terminology, essentially, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me read these super chats, and I want to bounce something. God damn, that sounds crazy. I want to ask the fellas a question. Because
I'm glad you caught it before you said it.
I almost finished it. I seen Action Jackson looking at me crazy. Feel me? He like, nigga, don't finish that sentence. So, like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, hit that like button right now if you can. That helps the channel the most because